So on the 6R80, you have a lot of throttle positions that you can pick from basically when you're driving daily. And by that I mean, like, it depends on your 10, 20, 30% on the quick shift controller. It probably interpolates between those percentages. So if I'm going to take off, say this is going to be like 10% throttle, I'm already first, second, instant, third, and then we're going to go here. It's going to come up to fourth, and then about to program into fifth in a moment. Once we get to speed, there's fifth, and well, traffic's a little slow, so fifth is the top. Once I release throttle, we're just going to coast in fifth. We're not going to continue higher than that. So back to third, second, 10 mile an hour, second to first, bam, first gear, so you don't get the hard lurching when you stop. So there's a lot of different ways that, of course, I want the transmission to shift, and this is just obviously in a daily driving mode with it. This is still 10%, 15% throttle, third gear, bam, straight into, should get to fourth gear. Fourth gear is a little longer spacing, not by much. Fifth gear at 38 miles an hour at 10% throttle, 42, 43, 44 miles an hour, locked up in fifth. And so we're keeping that. We're coming up to 50 miles an hour, and we're holding fifth. So we're gonna hold that for a while, and then sixth gear. All right, if I want to kick down, that's a kick down to fifth, unlock. So the fifth gear kick down to unlock, 71 miles an hour, sixth gear normal, and lock up. So now we just locked up once we got into that gear position, bam. So as you can see, there's different ways you can do it. I'm off the throttle and we're just coasting in lockup, 64 miles an hour in sixth gear. So there's a lot of sequence. I've just had to sit here and map this out from scratch. So I'm just mapping everything out as I go. As you can feel, the car, well, you can't feel it, but I can feel it. As you can feel it, the car has a decent sequence. There's one sequence that I do want to change at this stage in the game, and that's going to be to bring fourth gear into lockup instead of going to fifth gear. So now I'm back in throttle, we're unlocked in sixth, and we're relocked because I was just coasting, bam, and that looks good. If you aggressively go to 40%, that's the kick down, sixth, fifth, lock up. So we're just staying in lock up at that point, off the throttle. I just want to show the different phases that there actually are here in that sequence of shifts up and down, to show just how I have it. That was only like 35, 40% throttle. We weren't like aggressive or like just gonna, full send it. There's still some things that I need to dial in as well, just as it pertains to like everything about the shift points in the car. And ECM side, I need to do a few tweaks to the air fuel ratio just to make things good. But now I'm just coasting in sixth gear, shifting between being somewhat on the throttle at 10% or below and just coasting to maintain speed. We are unlocked now at 48 mile an hour in sixth. So I can change that unlock position and maintain lockup a little more for this low throttle position in sixth. It's just something that I need to evaluate if I really want to keep it there. But I've unlocked because we're at like, 1600 RPM, cruising at 45 in sixth gear. So we're keeping RPMs down, but we aren't locked. So at that time, you're creating heat, not a significant amount of heat, but heat is a concern because the stall on the converter is 3000, so that's where it's like flashing is like 3000, 3100, I believe, especially on a hit. So there are different ways that you can do this in cruising. Of course, being that I'm just cruising at like 40 something mile an hour, we can do a different type of hit. Let's see how it behaves at that point. So if I'm just cruising 51 and then I want to really aggressively, it just locked up, I want to aggressively downshift. Yep, that was, I went from sixth unlock straight to like third. So it will definitely kick down. It will kick down very hard, and it did just that. It's very stout, very good kick down, especially since I was in lockup already. All right, I'm gonna take off here. I was trying to get a point where I had like a decent takeoff spot, but I can't ever get one. There we go. That's just a slight, like, hey, get on out of my way type of move, passing. Because folk around here just drive really slow, and they'll clog up traffic. They'll just get next to each other, and then they won't pass each other, but they'll do like 10, 20 under. And they like, I don't know, it's a weird thing. It's like, can't tell if doing it on purpose or whatever, but that's a rant. Whatever. I'm just trying to get some good spots where I can demonstrate throttle position, shift points. So I'm going to transition to another like shift point deal here for a different type of takeoff. Of course, this is a coasting takeoff where you're just, I'm getting to a block and, let's turn through. So right now, that is a low throttle. So now this is like a 50% roughly throttle, 4th gear, 5th gear, 6th. Well, it actually went straight to lock up in 5th, and then we're at like 65 there, and lock up. So see how that lock up's almost like its own gear. It's a triple disc, so the duty cycle had to come down to actually make that not as harsh. The only time I want a harsher lockup engagement is when we're like wide open throttle and we're gonna lock up at the top of 4th, 5th gear. More than likely, I have some area of the program where it is for the top of 4th, or not the very top of 4th, more like 4,500 RPM to lock up, and that's gonna be more of a testing deal. Like, hey, what's the best spot to lock up? So that's decently in the power band with the supercharger, a few pounds of boost. And so I have a good ramp on the torque converter and the duty cycle for the engagement in the Quick 6 controller to say, hey, let's go ahead and lock up somewhat aggressively, not very hard, but just make sure that we catch and we don't slip. And of course that will keep temperature out of the transmission and just have you out here heating the fluid up for no reason. Anywho, that is a somewhat demonstration of some of the shift points that are here on the Marauder. It's with a 355 gear ratio, rear end gear ratio, stock, aluminum drive shaft, all that good stuff. So you're actually able to see like where I have these shift points. And these are just the moderate shift points. These aren't like a sport mode or anything like that. The 6R80 actually, with the Quick 6 controller specifically, actually has a mode where you can do that or paddle shift. And I haven't added those features in just yet. Just getting the car dialed in, make sure things ride good, make sure I don't have to rent cars again or whatever right now to spend money, and I can get to and from my destinations. So the car feels great though, and I wanted to be able to demonstrate that to you so that you could see how it is running and that you can actually get a car to run perfectly fine with a 6R80 swap. There's been people saying they had a lot of trouble with it. Any trouble that I've encountered has just been some things that are just slightly, that just need to be dialed in, tuned, or figured out. It hasn't really been anything that was like, it's gonna be this way the life of the car, or have any like weird issues like that. So I hope that this has been informative. Obviously I'm gonna have more content and I'm gonna continue to post content. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all that good stuff. I'll be around, guys.